You sit down at a restaurant. A steaming bowl appears in front of you. The air smells like garlic and ginger. Your hand reaches for two slender sticks resting on a ceramic holder. You tap them together once. It feels so natural that it barely feels like a choice. But here is something that might surprise you. Chopsticks were not invented for eating. They began as cooking tools. Simple sticks used to reach into boiling pots and open flames. The reason they ended up on the table has nothing to do with tradition or preference. It has everything to do with fuel fire and a philosophy that wanted peaceful meals. The blade did not disappear. It moved backstage. The earliest evidence appears in China around 1200 BCE. Archaeologists found bronze sticks in ruins from the Shang dynasty. These were not delicate eating utensils. They were kitchen tools, long enough to reach into simmering pots, strong enough to flip meat over open flames, safe enough to keep fingers away from heat. For centuries, people still ate with their hands or used spoons made from shells and bamboo. The chopsticks stayed in the kitchen. Then fuel became precious. Around the Zhou dynasty, roughly 1000 BCE populations grew and cities thickened. Wood became scarcer. A family cooking over fire had to stretch every bundle of fuel across more meals. The solution was simple. Cut food into smaller pieces before cooking. Smaller pieces cook faster. Faster cooking uses less fuel. A cabbage that might take 30 minutes whole takes 5 minutes when sliced thin. Now notice what happens at the table. If the kitchen does the cutting, the knife loses its job. A blade at the plate becomes unnecessary. All you need is something that can lift, turn, and share small pieces without crushing them. Two sticks became perfect. Chopsticks did not win because they were elegant. They fit a new logic. When the cutting moves to the kitchen, the table no longer needs a weapon. Here is the thing nobody tells you. Making chopsticks is a precision craft that turns raw wood into tools measured in millimeters. The process starts with material selection. Bamboo dominates production because it grows fast, resists splitting, and stays smooth against lips. A mature bamboo culm takes 3 to 5 years to reach harvest size. Workers cut the stalks at ground level during dry season when moisture content drops below 15%. The culm arrives at the factory as a hollow cylinder roughly 8 to 12 centimeters in diameter. First cut splits it lengthwise into strips about 1 centimeter wide. Each strip contains the dense outer layer that gives chopsticks their strength. Rough shaping happens next. A planing machine shaves each strip into a square rod, approximately 8 millimeters on each side. Length depends on the destination. Chinese chopsticks run 25 to 27 centimeters. Japanese hashi are shorter at 20 to 23 centimeters. Korean jeotgarak measure 22 to 24 centimeters, but are made from metal, not wood. The taper comes from grinding. Machines or skilled hands shape one end narrower than the other. Japanese chopsticks taper to a point for picking up delicate fish. Chinese chopsticks stay blunter for gripping noodles. The difference is 2 to 3 millimeters at the tip. Sanding uses progressively finer grits. First pass at 80 grit removes tool marks. Second pass at 150 grit smooths the surface. Final pass at 240 grit creates the silky feel against fingers. A rough chopstick would catch on lips and tongue. Quality control checks for warping cracks and splinters. Workers roll each stick across a flat surface. Any wobble means rejection. The acceptable tolerance is less than half a millimeter deviation across the full length. High-end chopsticks receive lacquer coating. Traditional urushi lacquer requires 15 to 20 layers each, dried for 24 hours before the next application. The entire finishing process can take 3 weeks. Budget chopsticks skip lacquer entirely or receive a single synthetic coat. The numbers tell a strange story. First, China produces roughly 80 billion disposable chopsticks per year. That requires 20 million trees annually. Japan alone imports 24 billion pairs from China each year. Second, a skilled craftsman in Fukui Prefecture, Japan, can produce only 3 to 4 pairs of high-end lacquered hashi per day. Each pair sells for $50 to $200. Third, the global chopstick market exceeds $30 billion annually, more than forks and knives combined across Asia. The oldest surviving chopsticks date to 1100 BCE bronze, still intact after 3,000 years. Here is where the story flips. Confucius shaped how chopsticks stayed on the table. He disliked knives at meals because they reminded people of violence and slaughter. A dining table should calm the room, not arm it. Chopsticks fit that philosophy perfectly. They do not stab. They do not slice. They require patience and a gentle grip. The gesture of lifting food becomes quieter than cutting it. Once an object fits both the body and the values of a culture, it becomes nearly impossible to replace. The table became a place where conflict stayed outside. What do you tell someone who asks why chopsticks were invented? You tell them this: chopsticks began as cooking tools to reach into boiling pots without burning fingers. They climbed to the table when fuel became scarce, and kitchens started cutting food smaller to cook faster. If the cutting happens in the kitchen, the table does not need a blade. They spread across Asia and adapted. Longer in China for shared dishes. Shorter and pointed in Japan for delicate fish. Metal in Korea to last generations. The next time you tap 2 sticks together over a steaming bowl, you are holding a small agreement between kitchen and table. A tool that learned manners and then taught them. Back at the restaurant, you lift a piece of tofu from the broth. The chopsticks grip without crushing. The motion feels ancient and obvious at the same time. That is the process. We reveal how things actually work, one story at a time. If there is something you would like us to explore next, let us know. Until then, trust the process.